Well, I think Toon Link will probably be one of the most fun characters to play as in the game. And probably, yes, they should have added Paper Mario, but it's been so long now that no one really cares anymore about the character roster. There's quite a lot of characters that we all wish they added, but what can you do? In the Army Man series, there was actually only 2 of them that I thought that were actually good, and those were Sarge's Heroes and Sarge's Heroes 2. They were kind of worth playing, and the rest of them were, not that fun, but Sarge's Heroes and Sarge's Heroes 2 were very good. Okay, believe it or not, I'd actually never even heard of that game before you just mentioned it there, so I just went to look it up on the internet to see what the fuck you were on about. And it actually looks like a pretty good game. Of course I've never played it because I haven't even heard of it, but it does look like a pretty good game, so thank you for telling me about that one. I'll have to check it out sometime. No, I haven't. I'm waiting very patiently for the PAL release of the game. God knows when that's going to be, but it can't be long now, surely. But I'll tell you something I have that you Americans don't. Mario Kart Wii. Oh yeah! Well, there's definitely no contest there. Tony Montana, Scarface, would definitely win that one. I mean, Hitman's a little pussy compared to Scarface, so definitely Tony Montana. How do I like Berserk, the manga? I don't. I don't like any manga at all. It's not just manga I don't like, I'm not a fan of reading. I don't like to read at all, not even comic books or anything. I don't like reading. So no, that's a big no-no. But if I was to get into Berserk, I would just watch the anime instead. Not that I'm desperately needing to get into Berserk. I mean, I've still got a lot of other animes to watch first, like Ranma half. So yeah, if I want to get into Berserk, then I'd just go and watch the anime. The Legend of Zelda Phantom Hourglass. Well, I've actually barely started this yet. I've had this since Christmas and I've barely even fucking started it. I just can't find the time to play it. I mean, I've been playing stuff like Kingdom Hearts this year, Mario Kart Wii, which I just got today. Nintendo keep coming out with new games all the time, so you can't keep up with them all. Super Mario Galaxy, I've been playing a lot of that. And also Uendin series, I've been playing a lot of them. So with all of these video games, I just haven't had the time to play The Legend of Zelda Phantom Hourglass, but I'm desperately trying to get around to it because I know it's going to be brilliant. Okay, there are a few consoles I can't show you right now because they're up in the attic and I don't really want to go up there and rake them all out. So when I say I have them, just believe me. And if you don't believe me, then you can go and milk a cow. So, those consoles that I have in the attic are the N64, the original PS1, and the GameCube, and the original Xbox, and the Game Boy Color. So that's pretty much about it up in the attic. Now for the ones that I can show you, let's start with my handhelds. The original Game Boy Advance thingy, and the original Nintendo DS, DS Lite, Game Boy Advance SP, and the PSP. Now for the consoles, which I can show you. The Nintendo Entertainment System. Now for the bit where we have to move the camera. The PS3, PS2 down there, I don't know if you can actually see that, but it's a PS2 alright. Nintendo Wii there, and the Xbox 360. There we go. No, not really. Well, I've actually completed that many games, I've kind of lost track of which ones I've completed and which ones I haven't. So I'm not going to sit here and name them all off, mainly because I can't remember half of them, but let's just say I have completed probably over 100 games. Well, in full honesty, I think they should have kept the Revolution title, because it was a lot more sensible than Wii, because in the English language anyway, naming it Wii has just led to a shitload of jokes, which makes it sound like the Wii is either a penis or a puddle of pish. For example, I like to play with my Wii in bed. Or, oh no, my Wii has just gone onto the carpet. You see, it's just led to jokes like that, which is completely stupid, especially from PS3 fanboys. We get nothing but Wii jokes from them. I mean, it was like, for the first few months, that's the only joke in the country was Wii jokes. But it's pretty much calmed down now, but they really should have kept the Revolution title, in my opinion. Nope, I haven't watched that, because much like Power Rangers, that show has never really appealed to me. It doesn't look that interesting. Well, I was going to say the Subspace Emissary, but then I thought, nah, that's not going to be it. So then I thought again, and this is coming from someone who hasn't played Brawl, remember? I think that the best thing about Brawl is going to be the Wi-Fi, because I can see myself going on the Wi-Fi for hours and hours and hours a day. Whereas the Subspace Emissary is going to last quite a long time, but it's not going to last forever, that's for sure. Whereas Wi-Fi does last forever, especially on Mario Kart Wii, which you Americans don't have, may I remind you. The first game that really pissed me off was Super Mario 64 when I was 4 years old. Now, let alone that game is definitely not an awful game, but damn did it piss me off. I mean, those gathering the 100 coin things were very, very hard when I was 4 years old, because I'll admit, I wasn't as much of a good gamer as I was when I was 4 as I am now. I guess that goes without saying though. Because I don't think most people started off as good gamers. It takes years of practice to be a fantastic gamer. So anyway, enough of that shit. Yeah, Super Mario 64 would be the first game that I really lost my temper at, just because of those darn 100 coin things where you kept dying and you had to start again. Ugh. Not really, no. I'm not really that into much war games either, so it's not just Call of Duty, it's most war games. They're not really that interesting to me. Well, I did complete that game many, many years ago. I haven't played it in ages, but I never got all the masks. But when the game comes onto the virtual console, which it definitely will sometime, God knows when that's going to happen, but sometime down the line, when it comes onto the virtual console, that is when I'll play it again and complete it 100%. Well, I thought this would be an easy question to answer, but no, it's got me incredibly confused. So to start with, I never had a Super Nintendo, as we all know, since I answered that a few questions ago. And on the Super Nintendo Final Fantasy games, they're like Final Fantasy 3 is actually Final Fantasy 6 or something like that. I don't actually know the order of which ones are which, so that's confusing for a start. And I also have only actually played the proper ones. Like for the Final Fantasy 4 I played, it is actually the Final Fantasy 4 and not a different Final Fantasy game pretending to be Final Fantasy 4, if you get my drift. So yeah, well, in this, the actual Final Fantasy games, I've played Final Fantasy 4 and Final Fantasy 5 and Final Fantasy 6. Now, fuck knows what they are on the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. If this question has confused you, don't worry, I'm even more confused. Tim and Eric's what? I've never even heard of that show. If it isn't a TV show or a movie or whatever, I've never heard of it. Well, they're okay. I mean, I wouldn't deny the fact that they're an okay band, but they're certainly not one of my favourite ones. Most of my favourites are a little bit more rocky than the Beatles. The Beatles are kind of rock, but they're a little more on the pop line, if you ask me. So they're a little bit too much poppy for my tastes.